I thank the member for Flynn. I call the Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Acting Deputy Speaker. The cream, the bone, the off-white, the ivory, or beige. They're the familiar words of summer. They're familiar words of every cricket season, be it summer, be it an Ashes series in the middle of the Australian winter in England, and we all know that they belong, that they relate, that they are very much a part of Richie Benaud. Vale Richie Benaud, we already miss him. I can't believe almost that his international cricketing career ended in 1964. That was the year I was born, and people tell me that that was a long time ago. But the fact that he has been so much a part of our cricketing folklore in post his cricketing career is truly remarkable. He was, as the member for Flynn just indicated, the voice of our summer, the voice of our cricket. I'll claim him as a Riverina boy. Jugiong is actually not in the Riverina electorate, but look, certainly Jugiong considers itself part of the wider Riverina, and he learnt his trade. He wasn't born in Jugiong. He was actually born in Penrith in Sydney, but certainly he forged an indelible link with the Riverina by being educated there at the local public school, where his father Louis was principal, and his dad Lou had actually taken all 20 wickets in a match playing in Sydney grade cricket against St Mary's, which for Cumberland, which is truly remarkable. So he obviously had that cricketing ability coursing through his young veins, and certainly he made his first grade debut, young Richie, at a very young age. And certainly the talent scouts spotted him, and pretty soon he was part of the New South Wales team, and not long after that he was a member of our Test team. And what a great Test career he forged. What a marvellous, as he would say, marvellous career he forged. 63 Tests, 2,201 runs. He took 248 wickets with his very crafty, thoughtful leggies. A tremendous cricketer for us. But probably most people remember Richie for being behind the microphone. Most people remember Richie as that for his analysis of the game, for his careful summary of how matches were panning out. And certainly when there were some incidents in international cricket, you could always rely on Richie to come up with a very diplomatic and thoughtful commentary on the particular incident, which placed it into perspective. He wasn't one for getting too excited, but I tell you what, when he did get excited, you knew it was something very, very special. Even his description of Shane Warne's first ever delivery in England, of course, it was to remove, as we all know, to remove Mike Gadding, that ball that bowled the English captain around his legs, and we all remember Richie's commentary on that. But his passing at the age of 84 on the 10th of April 2015 was mourned not just throughout our nation, but indeed throughout the world. And he died in his sleep, and he died of skin cancer. And certainly back in the day when Richie, and his shirt was usually unbuttoned all the way down to his waist, sleeves rolled up, and he was part of that that great era of the bronzed Aussie where everybody went out and got a suntan, and the slip slop slap probably wasn't part of our summers. But if anything comes of his passing, and as we mourn his death, we should also reflect on the fact, as Richie would want us to make sure that in summer, when we're playing cricket, when we're out standing in the slips, when we're out on the beaches, to make sure that we cover up, because the Australian sun is deadly. And Richie, like so many others, was a victim of those all too often summer afternoons in the hot blazing Australian sun, doing what he did best, and certainly loving it at the same time, but unfortunately treating his skin to those deadly rays. His passing was certainly mourned in Wagga Wagga. And of course Wagga Wagga is very much a cricketing city. It's home to Geoff Lawson, the former Test fast bowler. It's home to Mark Taylor, although he was probably more came from Leeton than Wagga, but we'll claim him because he went to high school there. But Mark Taylor, the former Australian cricket captain, and of course Michael Slater, the former very aggressive Test opening batsman. And of course, we know that those three have also got behind the mic in recent years. Taylor and Slater with Channel 9, and spent many a summer in the commentary booth with Richie, but also Jeff Lawson, who is a very good commentator with the ABC. And as I say, his death was mourned in Wagga Wagga. There was an unusual gathering of young cricketers and some not so young, who came together for a photo for the Daily Advertiser newspaper to reflect on the role that Richie had played in not just cricketing circles but in their lives. And we had Samuel Smith, 12 years old, of South Wagga, Sam Perry of Wagga RSL, Will Morley of Kringle, Colts, Martin Loy, a good mate of mine from St Michael's, Sean Gaynor, young fellow from Lake Albert, and Josh Thompson, very good, bright young cricketer from Wagga City, who came together for a shot to talk about their memories of Richie. And of course, all of them were far too young to remember Richie sort of rolling his arm over for Australia, but they remembered him from what he did in the commentary box. And Jeff Lawson also made some comments to the paper. But Martin Loy said you have Bradman, another Cootamundra, another Riverina boy from Cootamundra, Sir Donald Bradman. Well, we've got many member for Flynn. We've got. I haven't got time to relay all the sportsmen that we've got produced in the Riverina, but War, and you have Richie Benaud, said Marty Loy. And as evening descended on Wagga, as the paper said, all 6 of the city's cricket clubs paid tribute to the icon of Australian sport. And I think Jeff Lawson summed it up very well when he described him, because he knew him, as he was friendly. Very friendly, very affable, and loved to talk to anyone about cricket. It didn't matter who you were, he said. He was the kind of person that would always go out of his way to shake your hand. And I remember one of my favourite photos is with my sons, Alexander, who's now 20, and Nicholas, who's 17, and they're cricketers. They're much better than their father, thank goodness. I still play, mind you. I still open the batting at the age of 50. But we got a photo taken with Richie when we played at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Yes, I played at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Probably the worst cricketer to ever grace that famous sporting arena. But we played there as part of a promotional annual event with the primary club, of which Richie was. You'd call it a patron in most other organisations, but the primary club, that great charity which does so much for good deeds and people around the nation. But he was the primary club's 12th man, and we had our photo taken. It was a great day. I love that particular photo, and I love the way that Richie was our voice of summer. We will miss him dearly. I was so disappointed that when the Prime Minister stood to give his eulogy, to give his condolence motion in question time the other day, that he stood to speak about Richie Benaud at 2:25. How appropriate it would have been if he just had got up. What a shame it was that he didn't get up 3 minutes earlier, 2:22. And we'll always remember that about Richie. We'll always remember his coats. And they say copying is the best form of flattery, and certainly I think the copying of him, the wearing of the wigs and the off-beige, brown, ivory coats will continue as long as we play cricket in this great nation. Farewell, Richie Benaud. Marvellous innings, that.